This is the guide that we'll be using for this presentation. It can always be found at that address in yellow, so go grab yourself a copy. My grandson, who's about 3 here, is really into trains, and here he is about 5 years later, still very into trains. It's a great sort of thing to do with kids. Here's a northbound Coast Starlight, just north of San Luis Obispo, where there's a signal bridge. Here are circus trains coming through San Luis Obispo some number of years ago. That was kind of fun. And a surfliner parked in front of the San Luis Obispo station. Here's 3 Amtrak trains you can see from the platform of the museum, 2 Coast Starlights and a surfliner in the distance. Union Pacific Railroad designated San Luis Obispo as a train town USA. We had a good time at that party. Here's an SMV excursion car behind Coast Starlight headed north. Carl Hovenetz caught this picture of 4 passenger trains at the San Luis Obispo station. Here's a picture of the freight house some number of years ago. This is a roundhouse, the remains of a roundhouse just down the road from the museum, walking distance easily. There's the pads you can see for the individual tracks where the steam locomotives sat in the roundhouse. This is just next to Autry Cellars between San Luis Obispo and Pismo. Lots of bridges along the way, 12 of them in fact. It'd be fun to really learn more about those. That date on the bridge there says 1909. This is the Grover Beach station as seen from the station grill across the tracks. There's the station grill sign. Great place to have something to eat and watch trains. And here's all the kids all very excited. Santa's coming to town, and we're going to ride with him from Grover up to San Luis. It's quite an exciting day. Cafe car, always available. My favorite breakfast is an ham dog and champagne. And here's the Oceano Depot just south of the Grover Beach station.
Darn it. I just now turned on the recording. I forgot to do that. So maybe we'll figure out another way to do that. Okay, moving on. Here's the front of the depot, which you cannot see from the track side. This is the road side. Somebody is to see. Bruce is saying, well, not the original Oceano Depot. The original burned and was replaced almost immediately by a SP Standard 22 depot. So not the original one, but a subsequent one having been rebuilt from a fire. Or rebuilt from, fire. Okay, now we've gone on down the track some distance, or a little distance anyway, to the Phillips refinery, which gets fairly frequent movement of coke, which is a byproduct of them doing the oil refinery. And this is just north of Guadalupe on the main line, off the main line. And there's another shot of the refinery itself as you go by, from the train, obviously. The yellow stuff is sulfur, again, a byproduct of refining the oil, and a sellable byproduct. So that gets shipped out once in a while, too. I think that goes by bag and by trucks, though, if I recall. I don't think they do that by rail. Let's see. Another thing I was going to mention, that it's fun to note that this refinery is actually half of a refinery. This refinery here takes a lot of oil from this area, the Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo area, and some of the offshore wells down by Santa Barbara, and does what you might refer to as pre-processing. And the output from this refinery is pipelined up to the second half of the refinery, which is up in the Bay Area, and it's there that they take the output from here and turn it into sellable products like gasoline and kerosene and whatever all they make. So it's kind of an interesting two-part refinery in totally two different locations. Okay. I keep having to find my controls. There's a wider shot of the same spot. Here's the UP main line crossing the river just on the north side of Santa Maria. This is one of the spots where one of the Santa Maria Valley, one of the friends of the Santa Maria Valley group starts their field trips when they go out and track down remnants of the Pacific Coast Railway or old Santa Maria Valley stuff. This is often a starting point. This was a very lucky catch one day. This is just south of the Guadalupe station, and a northbound, I think it's a Starlight, happened to be shooting past the Santa Maria Valley train, which was bringing a small consist of cars into the Guadalupe station, where Santa Maria Valley interchanges with the Union Pacific. That's one of my favorite all-time pictures because it's kind of rare to get that good a timing. There's another shot of the UP yard at Guadalupe from a walking bridge to the north of the station itself. And that's a surfliner probably coming at us there on the main line. Here's another shot in the yard. The track closest to us in the picture is the main line. That's where the passenger trains come and go. All the rest of the tracks are the UP yard, where they stash freight cars, where they interchange with Santa Maria Valley, and so on. Another shot of the yard. This is now it's kind of reversed. The main line is on the far right, where you can see the Amtrak train, and then you get in this picture you get a much better idea of the number of tracks and how it's configured for all the other freight interchange tracks. And this was at the time anyway, I'm not sure if the record's been broken, but this was the largest Santa Maria Valley train, 60 cars. A lot of these oil tank cars, but there was others in the consist too, as it crosses the main street that runs between Santa Maria and Guadalupe. The Guadalupe proper, the business district, you might say, is just on the other side of the track we're looking at. There's the Guadalupe station with yet another Santa Maria Valley caboose preserved in its parking lot. That's caboose number 210, which I and a lot of other people helped restore or fix up or repair over the years as part of some of the stuff that the Friends organization does. There's a little closer picture of it. Cool little clock out there. I don't think it was working last time I saw, but maybe so. And here's a post office car that happens to be sitting on a length of track just about as long as it is, on the other side of the road from the train tracks in Guadalupe. It's privately owned. It's been sitting there for quite a while. I don't know if it's still there. This picture was taken a few years ago. And as far as I know, it's not generally available to tour or anything like that. If anybody knows different, let me know. That'd be fun. This isn't exactly visible, at least not like this, from the train tracks, but from the UP train tracks, you can see parts of the Betaravia area. Betaravia is on the Santa Maria Valley line. It was their headquarters for a while until they moved back closer to downtown where they are now. And what's pictured here is the lime tower that was part of the sugar mill process there at Red Arabia, and one of the Santa Maria Valley 70 tonners, the yellow and green. There's kind of a cool shot of the same tower in a sunset kind of thing. And here's another one of the locomotives for Santa Maria Valley, 1801, a Jeep 9. Again, it'd be pretty lucky if you saw this from the UP main line as a surfliner goes by, for instance. But it does happen. There's all three of them together from across the fields. That, again, unlikely, but it could happen that you'd see that from the train, the surfliner or the Starlight. This is really unlikely to see. This rail bus has, as far as I know, has only been back on the Santa Maria Valley Railroad once in the whole time that I was out there. It was during a speeder excursion years ago, and it's what's the place? I can't think of it. Down in Orange County, I think somewhere, or Orange, San Diego, LA area is the museum where this is held. Gary's telling me it's in Campo. So that was kind of fun to see that thing riding on. It hadn't been on these tracks since a number of decades ago. Here's a more generalized picture of the Guadalupe agricultural area just south of Guadalupe from the train. Here's a Aerox. Whoops, let me see. I'm trying to get back to my control panel here. There it is. It's an abandoned Aerox oil shale mine. That furnace that you see, part of anyway, kind of behind the warehouse building, was built in 1918. You probably will remember that oil shale, extracting oil from shale, was kind of talked about a lot a few decades ago, but most people don't realize that oil companies have been extracting oil from shale for lots of, I mean, this is a century old. Not the same techniques necessarily, but it wasn't exactly a new idea. There's one of the oil wells nearby. And here's just a kind of a general shot of the southbound train just south of the area where that oil shale processing plant was, on its way towards the coastline and Vandenberg. Just another general shot of a little farmhouse or farm shed along the way. Okay, now we're obviously on the Vandenberg Air Force Base area. This is up on North Base, a very old A-frame rocket stand that hasn't been used for decades. One of the first ones, I'm sure, used I don't know how many decades ago. That shot, all these shots were taken from the train. I've not been out there on foot or by car to get any closer or any better shots, but it's pretty cool that you can see this stuff just on a train ride, including the 3-mile-long runway on Vandenberg Air Force Base. This is must be the north/west end of it, 3 miles long, capable of landing the space shuttle when that program was running. And in fact, it did land there several times. It was the backup site for landing when the East Coast strip wasn't available for weather or whatever reason. This is Slick 2, Slick SLC, meaning Space Launch Complex 2. This is where the Delta II launch vehicles were launched from. I took that picture from the train. I did not take that picture from the train. In fact, that's not my picture at all. I was never that close to a launch. Interesting to note, because railroads fall under very old laws and railroads were so important to the early development of this country that they were sort of all-powerful. A lot of that all-powerfulness remains. Railroads have the right-of-way almost exclusively, almost all the time. Very little, if anything, can stop a train unless the train consents to stopping, including launches from Vandenberg. Generally speaking, however, the train, Amtrak's and Union Pacific's and such will cooperate with the base who's trying to do a launch, but if push came to shove, the train would have the right-of-way through Vandenberg, and they would have to hold the launch until the train got past. Well, somebody asked about the crops that we were seeing back in that picture. That's a good question. It could have been a lot of things: broccoli, cauliflower, maybe peppers. Let's go back to that and see if we can tell. Oh gosh, I can't tell. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Okay, there's the bridge going over the, I think it's the San Ynez River as we're approaching Surf, the station for Lompoc. And as we'll see in a second, as we approach the cutoff to the White Hills branch of the Union Pacific. And there's the cutoff, also as seen from the train. That track leads on up to the Selite mine, which is on the south side of Lompoc. There were other customers along the line back when, but I think for some time now, Selite has been the only customer that UP has down that track. Selite mine produces diatomaceous earth. It's if you've ever seen pictures of it, it's a white powdery looking stuff that's used for all kinds of things, filters and agricultural use and whatnot. For a while, Santa Maria Valley did some switching up there, but I don't think they're doing that anymore for the mine itself. And there's the UP caboose that is used when they shove up to the mine. This is put on the point of the train, and the conductor is on the platform guiding the train up the hill to the mine. There's a picture of a signal at the Surf Lompoc station. It's not a road. It's a pedestrian crossing that crosses the tracks to allow people to get from the parking lot there across the tracks and onto the beach. And just kind of a shot that you see. Once you start seeing the ocean, when you hit Vandenberg on the north side, you see ocean. You're never more than maybe a couple hundred yards from the water, the whole way down practically to Santa Barbara. And at times you are literally along the edge of the cliff with water below, or along the edge of the sand with the water just on the other side of the beach from you. That's part of what makes this an incredibly fun segment of track to ride. This is Slick 4, I think, or 3. Let's see, maybe I'm going to find out here. That's 3. This is 4. Which has been used for launches over the years, and Slick 3, which looks very similar, is now home of SpaceX. This is where they launched their Falcon 9s from, and somewhere after this picture was taken. This is a fairly old picture, again from the train. They also have a landing pad. You know, the SpaceXs are the guys that fly back the boosters, the main rocket segment that gets everything to space. They actually fly that back and land it on a pad near this launch pad in order to refurbish and reuse. It's a pretty remarkable feat they've done, and they've gotten pretty good at it. One of the things you go by on the train, if you're following the map, this is letter N, Honda Point was the site of a naval disaster in 1923 where 7 destroyers turned too soon, thinking they were at the Santa Barbara Channel. They were coming down from the north, thinking they were at the channel, turned too soon and ran aground. There's, I think like 7 people, something like that, died. Obviously did a significant amount of damage, if not total losses, to 7 destroyers. And what remains of this now is there is a plaque along the tracks. I think I have a picture of it here. Yeah. That notes the spot. And I think the spot is right off the shore here and maybe to the right. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't remember that well enough. There aren't any ships or remnants of the ships or anything like that still in the water, but you do go right through it. I remember taking a group of grade school kids, my wife's 3rd grade class, on a train trip. And we went by here and we told them we were coming up on the point. Holy cow, you should have seen, there were 30-some kids with their faces plastered against the glass on the train, looking to see what they could spot of those wrecked destroyers. But like I said, not much of that is left there anymore. This is Slick 6, which was to have been a launch pad for the space shuttle program. And in fact, the space shuttle, one of the space shuttles, had been brought out here and test fitted on this pad, meaning it was set up. They went through whatever testing to make sure everything fit. They tested fueling it, blah, blah, blah. But the shuttle never launched from the West Coast. So finally, I don't remember exactly how many years ago, but not that long ago, this was converted to use by Boeing for their Delta V rocket. That's their Boeing's heavy lift rocket for putting satellites in orbit. Again, the picture was taken from the train. Just some beautiful coastline. This is not atypical. You see this all the way along. Now we're down around Point Conception and headed for Santa Barbara. This is the boathouse and dock for Vandenberg. This is about as close a picture as I could come up with. It was halfway decent of the dock. They bring in various things like rocket segments on barges and then haul them off to whatever launch pad they're shooting from and assemble the vehicle. There's a nicer picture of the complex with the boathouse, boat dock, antennas, and so on. It's not unusual to see wildlife along the way. This was on a spot not far from that dock. This is Halama Beach, a pretty difficult place to get to by car. Not difficult in the sense that there are roads. It just takes a long time because there's no direct roads or easy roads to get to. So if you're going from 5 cities or going from Santa Barbara, it's kind of a surprisingly long trek. But it's a fun beach, apparently. I never actually was there myself other than from the train. Over here on the right, can you see that? Yeah. There's a place that sells the famous, it's a restaurant, Halama Burger. And I think, yeah, there's a little. Well, if you ever get a chance to go down there, give it a shot. Another nice picture of what you see from the train. This is the Gaviota trestle, I think. It's not far from what we're going to see next, the Gaviota pier. It's nice when you're on a private car at the back end. You can get some pictures of stuff that is pretty hard to get when you're in a car and you can only have a side view. There's the pier. Another shot of the pier with one of the kids looking at it. One of the interesting things that you pass along the train tracks is this old section of Highway 101 with an old bridge crossing this little canyon. And on the far upper left, you can see the new highway. You can see a guardrail along it anyway. That's kind of fun to see that. Another pretty view of the ocean too. It really is a very pretty trip. I don't recall exactly what this industry is. Looks like an oil processing or some sort of water processing, or I'm not sure. This sort of gives you the clue that you are really close to Santa Barbara. In fact, you can see in the background to the right a golf course, part of one of the resort areas that's on the north, or I guess it'd be western end of Santa Barbara. And there's the Santa Barbara station. Ta-da, we made it. Note over here in the upper left, there you can see a portion of a car. We'll see a better picture of in a minute. You can wander around, take a look at that car close up when you're there. You can't go in it. And it's also next to a really cool fig tree, so we'll talk about that in a minute. This picture, by the way, is taken from the second or third floor of the Moxie Children's Museum that's right across the train tracks, obviously, from the station. It makes a great destination for a family trip to Santa Barbara on the train. There's a picture of the station with the surfliner parked there. There's a picture of surfliner at the station Santa Barbara with a Union Pacific tank car train coming in from the north. I mentioned there's a really cool old tree just around the backside of from the station itself. Easy walk. This is it. It's an old fig tree. I forget exactly how old it is, but it's old. And the kids always get a kick out of seeing this thing. It's huge. And the root system is pretty remarkable too. It's well worth walking around there and taking a look at. And there's a little closer picture of that SP business car that's permanently on display there at the Santa Barbara station. From the Santa Barbara station, we're looking across the main track where the passenger trains pull up to the second track, where happens to be parked a Union Pacific work train of some sort. And beyond that, in kind of washed out white, you can see the Moxie Children's Museum that I was referring to earlier. That the picture I took was taken from up there where the people are on that tower. Again, really cool children's museum. We've done it several times. They limit, even before the COVID experience, they limit the number of people that can go through it. So it's good to have tickets ahead of time for a given time that you can go in if you intend to do that. Before I leave that notion of what to do in Santa Barbara, probably all of you have been to Santa Barbara and know the town fairly well, being in that area. But if not, just be aware that right from the Amtrak station there, where this picture is, there is all kinds of easy family things, fun things to do without needing a car or anything. There's a little bus system you can take to go down to the zoo, for instance. It's about a mile walk. You could do it, but you can take the little trolley thing for 50 cents or something like that. There's this Moxie that's literally up against the train station. There's all of State Street, Lower State Street. There's all kinds of shopping and restaurants. Out on the pier, there's all kinds of things to do, shops, ice cream, and so on. And there's also a great little aquarium that you can visit with the kids. We did that I don't know how many times. There's a fun tour of Santa Barbara that you can pick up on the street right nearby, about a block or two away. It's that you ride an amphibious machine that takes you around the downtown area a little bit, and then cruises out in the harbor. Goes out of the marina, out around the pier. It's also a very fun trip. So more than enough to do in Santa Barbara. The train from San Luis gets you there about 9:30 in the morning, and the late day train leaves here about 5 or 5:30 or something, assuming the schedule is still the way I remember it, and gets you back up to San Luis about 8:30-ish in the evening. Great day trip. One of the trips we took down here, we went back on the Coast Starlight, which meant going back much earlier in the afternoon by a few hours. But one of the things that gives you a chance to do is eat in the dining car, a real quote-unquote dining car on the Starlight, one of the long-distance trains. Here's a bunch of us on a guy trip took this segment of track one time. On the return, this is that 8:30 train at night, we literally had this car to ourselves, and we took the opportunity to have quite a good time. Okay, that's it. If anybody has any questions, this will be a good time to put them in the chat thing. I'll try to watch as they go by. Up in the upper right-hand corner there's a couple of things to note. One is, if you're not aware, but you probably are because you're here, of how to get to these Parlor Car chats and what ones are coming up and so on, there's the link in the upper right-hand corner. The second item down, I would really appreciate it, since this is sort of a test thing, if you would go to that link, which I will have on that page here in a second too, now that we're done, and give us just a little bit of feedback in a survey about how you found the presentation. It'll only take you a few minutes. And lastly, we are going to do the second one of these in 2 weeks, same Saturday, 10 o'clock time thing. And the topic will be the Golden Spike 150th anniversary in Promontory, Utah, last fall. I'll be sharing my photos from that and doing the same sort of commentary. So that's it. I haven't seen any questions pop up yet. Let me see if I can turn the sound back on. You can chime in if you want to. Okay, we're back.
Barking dogs.
Barking dogs and all.
The dog liked it.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, we have someone on who wants to be an Amtrak docent.
That's me. I'm just
I'm just going to learn whenever we come back online. I'm going to learn when I'm hoping to.
Excellent.
So just a COVID-19 comment. The surfliners are currently not running to San Luis Obispo, so you can't enjoy the beautiful sights that Tammy showed us today. Until they start running them again, the only trains that are running between Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo are the Starlights.
Well, that makes it hard to do a day trip.
It does.
You can go down. Well, no, you can't. If you don't have the surfliner, you can't do it at all.
I think they're running buses from San Luis Obispo.
They are. You can take a bus down.
Yeah.
But the bus goes down Highway 101. It's not nearly as exciting.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
we're
nearly at
hoping
all.
that they reinstate the surfliner service to SLO sometime soon, but we're not sure what they're going to do.
I think it's going to be June 1st.
Oh, well, I hope so.
Well, that's what I heard at the station.
That would be great.
I was on there yesterday on the Amtrak site trying to book a surfliner trip from San Luis to Santa Barbara. That was, and I kept pushing out the dates because for May they wasn't even listed as something you could do. But I think where it said June 1st must be right because once I hit June dates, then it started to make that option available again.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Bill Burkett up here in San Jose, and I found this on the PCR website. And I've just got to say I'm a retired Amtrak engineer. For those who don't know me, I know Andrew Merriam and Tom Zender very well, who I think a lot of you know. And I worked the Starlight from Oakland to Santa Barbara, and then later on, we had a job, and I held it for 10 months while I was on from Sacramento to San Luis Obispo. And it's quite a historic route, and your presentation and the pictures bring back some memories. Very, very good. One thing that came to mind when I saw your pictures at the San Luis Obispo Depot, at the north end of the depot, they have that new CTC signal bridge. But at that spot before that was put in, the block signal on the main line was the last block signal on the Coast Division with a World War II shield over the color light display, so it could not be seen from the air. And I have pictures of that signal that I took.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But thank you for the presentation. Very, very good.
Very nice.
Well, thank you.
You know what?
Thanks
We
for
would
joining.
actually love to interview you, Bill, for we have a program at SLO Railroad Museum called Train Tales. And we like to interview people who worked on the trains going through San Luis Obispo.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get through this COVID, and maybe we could do that.
Yeah, not right now, but
Yeah.
And Bill,
I know how difficult it is. I belong to the South Bay Historical Railroad Society, and our museum is the former SP Santa Clara Depot, and we're just beside ourselves. We're having a lot of discussions about how to reopen when we can reopen. Turning out to be very involved.
Bill, I had a question. Marty Connolly in Santa Barbara. Can you tell me, as an engineer, I heard that the 16 miles of track just north of San Luis Obispo was the hardest track to build on the whole line in California. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would say so because of the undulations. And it was, as a locomotive engineer, when you left San Luis Obispo going south to between there and Santa Barbara, the train handling the track undulates and curves every which way, and if you don't keep a handle on your train handling, even on the Starlight, you're going to be banging people around in the train, and it's a challenging piece of railroad, that part of it. And yes, it was one of the most difficult sections to build.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments anybody wants to throw in here?
I'll just add one more thing. I retired February 1st of 2012, and I worked out of Oakland. And my favorite part, I got to say, of the SP was Donner Pass. So about the last 4.5 years I worked, I was number 3 in seniority up in Northern California. So I retired on Donner Pass. There was nothing like running trains through a blizzard and snow and going through 4 or 5 weather changes in the same day. I could go on and on about that, but it was a lifetime experience, and it was great to be able to work there.
I just want to say thank you.
Oh, yes, you're very welcome.
Jamie, this is Verlin. That was a great presentation.
Hey, Verlin, hi. Thank you.
So, I thought to myself,
okay, well, I think we've done it. It's checked back on that Parlor Car Chats page at the museum's website. What fraction of the recording I managed to capture will be there, and notes about how to tune in next time, and so on and so forth.
Okay, and to the lady that would like me to interview, you can get a hold of Andrew Merriam, and he has all my contact information. Or
and what was your last name again?
Burkett, B-U-R-K-E-T.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks all.
Jamie.
Yes.
Thank you.
excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Nice job.
There we go. That's it.
A wonderful way to start the day.
All righty, very good. Have a great rest of the day.
Okay.
You too.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.